Hi, I'm Manu Pabi, and today we're going to talk about India's defense budget. In 2021, India earmarked rupees 4.78 lakh crore to the Ministry of Defense. This amounts to 14% of the total government spending projected for the entire year. However, a major chunk of this, which is 24%, was towards pensions alone. As a whole, 71% of the total budget was given for revenue expenses, such as salaries, pensions, and upkeep of equipment. This left only 29% for capital expenses, which go towards modernization of forces, like the acquisition of new weapon systems and upgrades to the fighting capabilities of the three armed forces. Last year, the Army got the biggest chunk of the budget at 54%. This was followed by the Air Force, which got 24%, and the Navy got the least chunk at 16%. A major problem that the forces have been projecting again and again is that the allocated budget given to them is less than half of their expected demands or what they have projected for their requirements for the entire year. So there is a clear mismatch between the requirements of the forces and the resources available with the government to allocate. Compared to global powers, India is in the club of the 5 biggest spenders on defense. These countries are the US, which is the biggest spender, followed by China, India, Russia, and the UK. Data collected by CIPRI, which tracks international arms trade, shows that the Americans spend $778 billion on defense, followed by China, which had a budget of $252 billion. India was kept at $72.9 billion, while Russia spent $61.5 billion. UK is the 5th member of the club with $59.2 billion spent. Last year also, India committed to spending much more of its capital budget on purchases from local manufacturers, therefore cutting down on defense imports from other countries. In the 2021 budget, the ministry has earmarked 70,000 crores, which comes to 63% of its capital outlay for purchases from Indian defense manufacturers. A big emphasis has also been on promoting startups and homegrown research and development for defense products as well. The Defense Ministry has been actively supporting export of weapon systems, and this year itself we've seen a big success story with the BrahMos being exported to the Philippines. Given the current economic scenario faced by the country, it is unlikely that there will be a huge increase in the budget spending which will be announced at the end of this month. However, the armed forces are looking for more spending certainty. They are waiting for a non-lapsable fund to be set up with which they can plan their long-term acquisitions. This has been a long-standing demand, and the forces want a fund which can be extended over several years, so which will give them certainty on availability of funds, which will enable them to plan acquisitions more easily. We spoke with several representatives of the defense sector, and here is what they have to say.
Yeah, the finance minister has got a real challenge in balancing the budget this time, because on one side we had the pandemic, on the other side we have China, and at the third side we have Pakistan with nibbling actions, and also the armed forces are not equipped with the state-of-art equipment they deserve to ward off the enemy on all fronts, and therefore I think there is a need to have an increased allocation for the modernization budget of the Indian Armed Forces. So from about an allocation which was in 2007-8, which was about 40,918 crores, to about 74,125 crores in 1415. We have come a long way in this present budget that we have, which is about 1,35,061 crores, which was a 19% increase over the previous year. So let's remember that we also had the emergency procurements and allocation made, which I'm told is close to about 30,000 crores. So in fact, we had close to about 1,75,000 to 1,80,000 crores this year. And that's the benchmark I would like to take for a corresponding increase if I would look at the finance minister making an allocation in the budget as she announces in the parliament. So there's no question of balance over here. Pay and allowances and pensions are a commitment. It has to be done. Modernization of the Indian Armed Forces is a necessity. It has to be done in the global world order today. With the regional disturbances and the global disturbances, this is an essential prerequisite, and I expect this allocation to be done.
Experts also say that
manufacturing is one sector which can create both jobs, demand, as well as increased GDP. Defense has been identified as one champion sector which can lead to significant contribution to GDP and employment. It has sufficient unrealized potential which can be tapped. In recent years, government has taken several positive steps already to boost defense manufacturing in the country. The expectation from the members of SIDM is that next budget will continue to provide positive impetus to manufacturing in defense in future also.
First is increased allocation towards defense research and development. Presently, schemes like Innovation for Defense Excellence by MOD, they are capped at a budgetary allocation of 1.5 crore rupees. If something meaningful has to come out, with all the technological innovation and the hard work of companies which are small enough and which look forward for support from the government, this allocation has to increase, and we will request the government to increase the allocation to at least 10 crore rupees per project, and the outlay can be similarly set in forth. The second is we request the government to push forward the testing labs which are augmenting the CQIA standard. This will help us a lot in certification, which, mind you, is a lot of budgetary constraint once we are very close to prototyping something. Last but not the least, as part of the flourishing defense ecosystem, we also look forward to an order book, and the upcoming budget is likely to provide a full 1,000 crores in the form of orders for startups, which is the requirement for sustenance of such an ecosystem.
all eyes now on Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman as she presents the budget, and let's see what it has in scope for the defense sector. Remember, the Finance Minister has also been the Defense Minister in the past, and she's very well versed with the needs and requirements of the armed forces.